Sumerian practices of justice. The Sumerians, who inhabited southern Mesopotamia from roughly 4500 BCE to 1900 BCE, developed one of the earliest known civilizations in human history. Central to their societal structure was a well-defined system of justice, which aimed to maintain social order, regulate economic activities, and ensure fairness in interpersonal disputes. Sumerian justice was deeply intertwined with religion, social hierarchy, and economic life, reflecting a society that valued law as a divine mandate as much as a practical tool for governance. Legal foundations and sources. The earliest written records of Sumerian laws date back to the 3rd millennium BCE, preserved on clay tablets in cuneiform script. Among the most significant of these legal documents are the codes of Ur-Nammu, Lipit Ishtar, and the later code of Eshnunna. These codified laws indicate that Sumerian society had already developed a sophisticated understanding of justice, recognizing the need for written rules to guide both rulers and citizens. Sumerian laws were generally prescriptive, providing specific penalties for specific offenses. They were based on a principle of proportionality, often reflecting the social status of the victim and the perpetrator. Unlike modern legal systems that emphasize individual rights, Sumerian justice focused more on restoring social equilibrium and maintaining the authority of the state and the gods. Role of religion in justice. Religion was inseparable from the administration of justice in Sumer. Laws were believed to be divinely sanctioned, and the king, or Lugal, acted as a representative of the gods on earth. This connection between law and divinity meant that breaking a law was not merely a social violation, but a moral and religious transgression. Temples played a crucial role in legal matters. Priests often acted as judges or advisors, especially in disputes related to property, marriage, and inheritance. The invocation of divine witnesses in trials further underscores the sacred nature of justice in Sumerian society. Legal procedure. Sumerian legal proceedings were formal and structured. Disputes could be brought before a local assembly, a council of elders, or the king's court, depending on the gravity of the offense. Evidence was crucial, and testimony from witnesses held significant weight. Oaths were commonly used to confirm the truthfulness of statements, often invoking the gods to bear witness to the honesty of the parties involved. Interestingly, Sumerians also practiced trial by ordeal in certain circumstances, reflecting their belief in divine intervention in human affairs. For example, a common method involved submerging an accused person in water to determine guilt or innocence, with the underlying assumption that the gods would protect the innocent. Such practices highlight the interconnection between faith and justice in Sumerian culture. Hadashar, categories of offenses. Sumerian laws addressed a wide range of offenses, including theft, assault, property damage, debt, and sexual misconduct. Property crimes were particularly significant, given the agrarian nature of the society and the importance of land, livestock, and trade. For example, theft of grain or livestock could result in fines, restitution, or corporal punishment depending on the offender's social status. Violent crimes, such as assault or murder, were treated more severely. While the principle of lex talionis, an eye for an eye, was not as rigidly codified as in later Babylonian law, Sumerian legal texts indicate that penalties were often retaliatory, with the aim of restoring social equilibrium and deterring future transgressions. Family law was another critical area of Sumerian justice. Marriage contracts, dowries, inheritance, and parental responsibilities were all regulated through legal prescriptions. Women, though subordinate in social hierarchy, were afforded certain protections under these laws, such as the right to a dowry and legal recognition of divorce in cases of abuse or neglect. Economic and contractual regulation. Sumerian justice also extended to commercial and economic life. Merchants, farmers, and craftsmen were subject to regulations governing contracts, loans, and debts. The law required formal agreements for loans and trade transactions, often recorded on clay tablets. Interest rates, repayment terms, and penalties for default were clearly specified, demonstrating an advanced understanding of economic justice. These regulations helped to stabilize the economy by ensuring predictability and trust in commercial dealings. In cases of breach of contract or fraud, legal remedies included fines, restitution, and, in extreme cases, seizure of property. This early focus on contractual justice reflects the importance of trade and economic cooperation in Sumerian civilization. Social stratification and justice. Justice in Sumer was not applied equally to all members of society. Social hierarchy significantly influenced both legal rights and punishments. Free citizens, dependent laborers, and slaves were subject to different laws and penalties. For instance, harming a noble or a priest could result in severe punishment, while offenses against slaves or lower status individuals might result in fines or less harsh consequences. This stratification highlights the dual role of law in Sumerian society. It served both as a tool of social control and as a mechanism for regulating interactions within a complex and stratified community. While the principles of fairness were present, they were often mediated through considerations of social rank and power, legacy and influence. The Sumerian approach to justice laid the groundwork for subsequent Mesopotamian legal systems, including the famous Code of Hammurabi. Elements such as written laws, the involvement of religious authorities, proportional penalties, and attention to economic and family matters were all inherited and refined by later civilizations. The Sumerians' recognition of the need for codified law represents one of the earliest expressions of the idea that a stable society requires predictable, enforceable rules. Moreover, Sumerian legal practices provide invaluable insights into the values and priorities of early urban societies. They illustrate a society striving to balance divine authority, social hierarchy, economic necessity, and human morality, a balancing act that continues to resonate in modern legal thought. Conclusion. Sumerian justice was a complex interplay of law, religion, social hierarchy, and economic regulation. Its codified laws, formal procedures, and reliance on divine sanction reflect a civilization deeply concerned with order, fairness, and the moral dimensions of human behavior. While it operated within the constraints of social stratification and did not guarantee equality in a modern sense, it represented a significant step towards systematic governance and the rule of law. Through their innovations in legal codification, the Sumerians contributed enduring principles that influenced subsequent Mesopotamian civilizations and the broader history of law in human societies. The Sumerian legal system reminds us that the quest for justice is ancient, universal, and deeply connected to the moral and spiritual concerns of society. By examining these early practices, we gain a richer understanding of how humanity has historically sought to reconcile individual conduct with communal order, a challenge that remains as relevant today as it was over 4 millennia ago. Sources: 1. Botero, J. 2001, Religion in Ancient Mesopotamia, University of Chicago Press. 2. Kramer, S.N., 1963, The Sumerians, Their History, Culture, and Character, University of Chicago Press. 3. Roth, M.T., 1997, Law Collections from Mesopotamia and Asia Minor, Scholars Press. 4. Vandemeerhoop, M., 2007, A History of the Ancient Near East, Cia. 3000 to 323 B.C., Blackwell Publishing. 5. Michalowski, P., 2008, The Laws of Ur-Nammu, in J.E. Reed and D. Oates eds. Babylon, Mesopotamia, and the Ancient Near East, British Museum Press. 6. Postgate, J.N., 1992, Early Mesopotamia, Society and Economy at the Dawn of History, Routledge.